clash of titans, Bob Foster versus George Foreman. Who could possibly stand a chance against Foreman's raw, unstoppable power? Can the lean, light heavyweight champion Foster survive the sledgehammer punches of the colossal Foreman? Or is this fight just another one-sided beating waiting to happen? In this video, we dive deep into one of the most anticipated and brutal matchups in boxing history. Get ready to witness how Foster's precision and skill stand up against Foreman's devastating strength. Will technique triumph over brute force? Or is Foster in way over his head? Find out now. Bob Foster, the reigning light heavyweight champion, was a force to be reckoned with in his division. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches, with a reach of 79 inches, Foster possessed an imposing frame that belied his weight class. His most dangerous weapon? A devastating left hook that could dismantle opponents in the blink of an eye. Foster's power was legendary, as evidenced by his numerous knockouts against some of the toughest competitors in the light heavyweight division. But Foster was more than just a knockout artist. He was a master technician, with a jab that could control the pace of the fight and keep opponents at bay. His footwork was nimble, his defense sharp. He could dance around his opponents or stand toe-to-toe with them, always finding ways to exploit their weaknesses. However, Foster's greatness came with a caveat. As dominant as he was at light heavyweight, he struggled when he ventured into the heavyweight division. His lanky frame, while powerful in his own division, was often outmatched by the sheer size and strength of heavyweight fighters. His chin, which had held up against light heavyweights, was more vulnerable when faced with the thunderous blows of the heavyweights. On the other side of the ring stood George Foreman, a man whose very presence could strike fear into the hearts of opponents. At 6 feet 4 inches and weighing in at a solid 220 pounds, Foreman was a physical specimen, a colossus who embodied raw power and brute strength. His right hand was a sledgehammer, capable of ending fights in a single punch. Foreman's reputation as a knockout artist was well-deserved. His devastating punches had left a trail of destruction in their wake, earning him the title of one of the hardest punchers in boxing history. But Foreman was not just a brute force. He had an underrated boxing IQ, knowing when to unleash his power and when to bide his time. His ability to cut off the ring, to corner opponents and trap them in his web of destruction, was second to none. And then there was his chin, a chin that could absorb punishment and keep coming forward, a chin that made him one of the most feared men in the sport. However, Foreman's greatest strength was also his weakness. His reliance on his power sometimes made him predictable. His stamina, though improved over the years, was always a concern, particularly in long, drawn-out fights. Foreman's tendency to tire in the later rounds left him vulnerable, and his defense, while formidable, could be breached by a skilled and patient opponent. When Bob Foster stepped into the ring with George Foreman, it was a classic case of power versus precision. Foster knew he couldn't match Foreman's raw strength, but he believed his speed, technique, and tactical brilliance would give him the edge. From the opening bell, Foster used his jab to keep Foreman at a distance, moving around the ring with grace, trying to avoid the big man's power. But Foreman was relentless. He stalked Foster, cutting off the ring with precision, forcing him into corners. Foster's punches, which had devastated light heavyweights, seemed to have little effect on the granite-chin Foreman. And when Foreman finally closed the distance, the difference in weight and power became all too apparent. Foster fought valiantly, landing crisp jabs and counterpunches, but it was only a matter of time before Foreman's power became overwhelming. In the second round, Foreman unleashed a barrage of punches that sent Foster crashing to the canvas. Foster, to his credit, got up, showing the heart of a champion, but the outcome was inevitable. In the next exchange, Foreman landed a thunderous right hand that ended the fight in a brutal knockout. George Foreman's victory over Bob Foster was a testament to the unforgiving nature of the heavyweight division. Foster's skill and precision were no match for Foreman's size, power, and relentless aggression. While Foster was a great fighter in his own right, the disparity in physicality was too much to overcome. Foreman's ability to absorb punishment and deliver crushing blows made him the victor in this clash of titans. In the end, it was Foreman's sheer power that secured his place in boxing history.